Welcome back to r/EntitledPeople, where we read stories about entitlement that will infuriate you. If you are new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe as I upload daily content and we would love to see you in our community. Without any further ado, let's dive right in. And the first one is titled, Begs for a lift to the airport, demand it's done on their terms, illegally, risking my driver's license. That's not going to happen. A while back, this one. Some background though, I had once driven a friend who did not wear their seatbelt and copped a $300 fine for it. To this story, a family's friend's son needed a lift to the airport early one morning for a long planned trip. I lived about 10 miles from their place and a 30-mile trip I was taking to work. The opposite direction took me right past the airport, so it was a bit of extra time out of the morning, 15 miles to the west to pick up the sons, then 45 miles east instead of 30 east, but they begged and both phoned me and I said I was good to give them the lift. I turned up in the morning, loaded up their gear, the sons both in a car and said goodbye to their parents and we took off. Drove a few miles up the freeway and my seatbelt alert starts pinging. Son 1 in the front seat had taken off his belt. I asked him to put it on, he goes, "Nah, I don't do seatbelts." So I pulled over, looked back at the other son in the back seat, which did not have alarms, and sure enough, he had taken off his belt too. Then the arguing started. I was blunt as I could be that I'm not risking my license and my money so they could get a free lift I did not care one way or another about. Roughly as follows, paraphrased, because it was years ago, but they were both in on it. Me, I'm not moving the car unless the belts are on. I've been fined once before, not doing it again. Son number 1, I told you, I don't do seatbelts, Dad's okay with it. Me, I'm not. And you, son number 2, yours on too, not moving until they are on. Son number 1, do you have any idea how dangerous they are in an accident? Me, blink. Son number 1 then puts his behind him and clicks it in. Me, no, belt goes around you, does not count. Son number 1, it will turn the alarm off. Go, you will see, we need to get going. Me, we can when you put the belt on. I don't give a crap about the alarm. I care it is a $600 fine if you two don't have belts on. Son number 2, come on, we will be late. Me, your flight is not for another hour and a half. Belts on. Son number 1 then calls his dad. Complains we have stopped and dad asks us why. Son number 1 explains, then his dad tells him to just put the belt on. Son number 1 says okay, but did not notice I had heard his dad's side too and said his dad says I need to get a move on. Me, not until the belts are on. This goes back and forth to the point I will be late to work if I don't get going. Son number 1 is all, fine then, turn around, I will get Dad to drive. Me, belts on then. Son number 1, no, I've told you already. Me, then we are not moving. I get out my phone and browse idly, showing I'm not moving until their seatbelts go on. Son number 1 phones his dad again. His dad sounds really pissed but agrees to pick them up. Both sons get out, take their bags, one slams the door and boot and I drive off. Choosy beggars left behind. I get to work, then get a phone call that son number 2 left his main luggage in my car and they want it dropped off at the airport urgently. They are flying out soon and they need it now. I tell them to get a taxi and I will meet them out back of my work. They decide to argue it is my responsibility to get them the luggage and again argue the point. Half an hour later, one turns up in a taxi to get the other's luggage. I should note here, I really don't know these guys well at all. I know one's name for sure and think I know the other, but I might have him mixed up with a cousin from the same suburb. Later that afternoon, I get a phone call from their dad that I have wasted his son's tickets. They were not able to fly out, could not rebook quickly, and they will miss half their vacation time now, and it was all my fault for stopping for so long. I tried to explain as clearly as possible that I was not going to risk another huge fine and piss off my employer just for the inconvenience of a couple of ingrateful idiots, but ended up just hanging up on him. I'm still friends with their mother, who was the original friend of the family, but things are a bit strained between me and her husband and sons. For your interest, the sons were about 21 and 24 at the time it happened. Honestly guys, what would you have done if you had these two entitled douchebags in your car? Let us know in the comments. And if you have watched until here, please feel free to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you want to support me. Thank you so much in advance. And the next one is titled, Customer claims we ruined her son's Christmas because she thought her car would grow. First time poster here, and this happened almost 2 years ago, so go easy on me. I worked retail at a large sporting goods store around the holidays. My store had a large trampoline for sale, of which a customer bought but quickly found out it was too large to fit in her sedan. No problem, we told her we would put it on hold for her and she could come back when she found a car to borrow or someone to help her out. This was in early December and it was common practice for us to put items in the bag with a tag saying it is for ex-customers and that she had already paid. Fast forward to a few weeks later, Christmas Eve around 5:30, store closes at 6, same customer calls and asks if she can come get her trampoline but she will be late. Fine, we will be there anyways, closing down. I go to the backstock area only to find out someone has sold her trampoline. No big deal, another store is 15 minutes away with one in stock. I hop in my personal truck, drive to the other store, pick up the trampoline and head back to the store. I arrive at roughly the same time as the customer. We tell her we can just move it straight from the bed of my truck into her car. Sounds good? Wrong. We go outside to find out she is in the same car she came to the store in weeks ago and has her son in the car, presumably the one who is receiving the trampoline for Christmas. Again, we tell her that this trampoline will not fit in her car. At this point she is irate that the trampoline is not wrapped for her, which is not a service we have ever offered or advertised, that it won't fit and that we have now ruined Christmas for her son because he knows he's getting a trampoline now and he won't have it tomorrow morning. At this time, my store director graciously offers to put the trampoline in his car and drive it to this woman's house that is fairly close by. We don't offer delivery, by the way. She agrees. The rest of this story is now secondhand due to me no longer being there and was told to me by the director at my next shift. So the director drives to her house with this trampoline on Christmas Eve instead of being with his family. He arrives, to which this woman goes inside and shuts the door without offering any instruction or help to my director. He proceeds to stand at the front door and knock for an extended period of time before she opens the door as if she's bothered that he's there. He tells her that he's just going to put the trampoline outside the garage, which infuriates her because it is not under the tree. He obliges and by himself gets this trampoline up her front porch stairs and to the door, which he discovers is closed and locked again. He again waits on her to open the door, to which she never does. At this point he decides that enough has been done to appease this customer and goes on his way to enjoy Christmas Eve with his family. Now, fast forward to the day after Christmas. The next day the store was open and who comes marching in? This lady, and she's furious. The director takes her to his office and she proceeds to scream and throw a fit, demanding a refund because WE ruined her Christmas for her kids because we were so unaccommodating to her. Apparently, she was mad that he did not put it under the tree for her. My store director quickly shuts this down, explains what happened, why he left it where he did, and everything we did to make sure she got this trampoline. She's not having any of this, and at this time she's asked to leave the store because of her screaming. She refuses, PD is quickly called and she's escorted out of the building and as far as I know of, never seen again at the store. And guys, as you might notice, these stories are a mix of r/EntitledPeople and r/choosing beggars. If you enjoy this combination of subreddits, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much. And the next one is titled, Thank you for fixing the Wi-Fi, can I have the password? I keep seeing other posts about their neighbors stealing Wi-Fi and I thought I would add mine. Mine is a bit unusual, a little background. I am an uber geek. I've been an IT person since 1993 and have a lot of very high equipment I use at home. I purchase business grade equipment often instead of consumer grade equipment, more expensive but it works a lot better and has some cool features. So when I moved into my last home we were renting, our landlord also ran a small business. He just had a single computer that he used very rarely for internet access. I was getting FiOS installed into the house and told him that I would set up my equipment and then instead of having to pay for DSL, which was very slow, he could just use my Wi-Fi because it would be super fast. So I proceed to get my fee or service and then set up my 2 access points on different channels but with the same name, so you can roam around the house and outside the whole yard and have great coverage. I then take my landlord's computer and connect it to my Wi-Fi, and he's just happy as happy could be. Here is where the choosing beggars come from. As part of this, my landlord turns off his DSL and sends back the cruddy DSL router with Wi-Fi to the telephone provider. A few days later, I hear a bang 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 on my back door. I open it up and find my neighbor, aka CB. Me, confused look. Hello neighbor. Awkward silence. CB.
Hi, I wanted to know when you're going to get your internet fixed.
Me. My internet is working fine. Why are you in my backyard? CB, choosing beggar, looks around.
I always come through the backyard here. I'm friends with your neighbor on the other side, and I always walk through the backyard as a shortcut. Does not matter. I'm wanting...
Me, I cut him off. Don't walk through my backyard. My wife will get scared. I have a Great Dane that if she's in the backyard, she's not going to be happy you just walking in, and I don't want you to get hurt or her to get out. CB.
I don't care about your dog. I just want to know why your internet is not working.
My internet is working fine. In fact, I'm using it right now.
Well, it's not working for me.
At this point, it dawns on me what he is saying. I guess I was slow that day. I had thought he came over because his internet was not working, and he figured I knew why, because mine was not working either. He was an older man and kind of gruff with his conversational skills, but it finally dawns on me at this point. To make sure, I ask him to clarify, are you saying your internet is not working? And are you wondering if mine is not working also? CB.
No, my internet was working fine until a few days ago. Now, the Wi-Fi that I used to connect to is not there anymore, but I see a really strong other Wi-Fi named
redacted. Ah, I see. The Wi-Fi that you used to connect to was landlord's name. Wi-Fi for his business. I did not know he gave you the password, but he no longer has that service. The only Wi-Fi left in this house is mine. CB.
I see. Well, thank you for making the Wi-Fi a lot better. I used to hardly get a signal before, but now when I look at Wi-Fis in this area, I see a full 5 bars from your new one. That is great. I just need the new password.
Me? I'm not giving you my Wi-Fi password. You need to get your own internet service.
What? You have to. I had the old Wi-Fi password. You have to give me your Wi-Fi password.
Me? No, I don't. I pay for the internet connection here. I'm not giving you my Wi-Fi password. CB?
That's not fair. F you. I'm going to call landlord and tell him he needs to kick you out.
Me? Have fun with that. By the way, stay out of my backyard or I'm going to let my dog out next time and call the cops. So I close the door as he's just fuming at me and watch through the window as he marches out of the backyard to his yard. Of course, he does not close the fence all the way, so I go out there in a few minutes and close it. I also pick up my phone and call my landlord to let him know what is going on. My landlord tells me he did not even know that the neighbor was using his Wi-Fi. Anyway, the story does not end here. A few days later, I start getting notifications from my access points that someone is trying to break in. This is another great feature of the business class equipment that I have. It sends me a notice that a device at MAC address is trying to use a program to guess my password. Being an uber geek, my Wi-Fi password is 15 characters long with upper, lower and numbers. So he's probably not guessing it anytime soon. Just to be on the safe side, I actually block his Mac from connecting to my access points at all and also disable the broadcasting of the name. That weekend I am out in my front yard with my laptop doing some work. My neighbor sees me and starts talking to me much more friendly this time.
I noticed that your Wi-Fi is no longer online. I guess that landlord made you take it down, huh? Serves you right.
Me? I look at him with a bit of a confused face because I'm working on my laptop, which obviously means I would be connected to some type of Wi-Fi, but I guess he doesn't think this way. No, it's working fine. I talked to landlord and he just laughed when I told him the story. CB?
I'm not seeing your Wi-Fi anymore, so I know you're lying.
Me? I changed it so that it is not broadcasting the name anymore. That way you don't keep trying to break into it. It was sending me emails that you were trying. CB sputtering.
That wasn't me. It probably was someone else. Anyway, you should give me your password. It's not fair that I used to use the old Wi-Fi here, and now I cannot use the new one.
Me? It's not fair or legal that you were stealing the Wi-Fi that used to be here. By the way, I put up a camera in my backyard, just to make sure you don't try to go through there again. If I see that you have been in my backyard, I will be turning over the footage to the police, as you would be trespassing and I will press charges. CB,
F you.
He ended up walking back into his house while I was still in the front yard. I would run across him from time to time, after that walking on the sidewalk in front of my house to get to his friend's house on the other side, always glaring at me. I just waved and laughed. I talked to his friend one day about the whole situation and he told me that the CB had come to him and complained I would not give him my password, and he told the CB to buy his own internet connection and stop being a cheapskate. I hope you enjoyed the story. I have other stories about this neighbor, but they don't really belong here, and maybe this one does not per se, but I see a lot of others, so I thought I would maybe entertain you all a little bit. And guys, I'm curious, did you ever have to deal with such an entitled neighbor? Let us know in the comments. And the next one is titled, My girlfriend's CB cousin loses her shit when we don't pay for her vacation. Backstory, I have a good paying job and I am able to go on vacations with my girlfriend twice a year if time allows us to. My girlfriend's cousin CB, choosing beggar, is the definition of a bum and has never worked a day in her life. Not very long ago, my girlfriend and I were making plans to visit Asia for our anniversary. We are adventurous people and we enjoy going to new places. Dates were set, tickets were paid for, we both were able to get our vacation days from our workplaces to allow us to go on our trip. I had everything planned and ready for us and we were both excited. A few days ago, CB came over to our house. She does not come over very often, so I figured that she was coming over to eventually ask for some cash or something like that, which she did. I gave her $100 because I know she is in a pretty bad financial state and figured she could use it to pay for some food and whatever other necessities she may need. While having a conversation with her, our anniversary plans came up and CB seemed interested in all the little details and everything we had set up for ourselves. My girlfriend, in the midst of her excitement, did not realize where this conversation was heading, but I could see it from a mile away, so I went to the kitchen and listened in on what the ladies had to say. My girlfriend mentions to her how we will be traveling through Asia and hopefully visiting various countries and blah blah. CB responds to all that with,
Wow, you guys must be spending a lot of money on all this.
We were, but it was not breaking the bank or anything, which is what my girlfriend explained to her. Everything is all fine and dandy until CB asks if we wouldn't mind her tagging along. I explained to her that this is for our anniversary, but if she really wanted to come, we would not stop her, but she would have to book her flight and accommodations very quickly. CB then asks,
Can't you just book the flight for me?
Which I tell her I can, providing that she's able to pay for her ticket and stuff. CB's face changes.
I thought you guys would be paying for me though.
I tell her that if we invited her with us, then I would have been more than happy to pay for her, but first, I would not be inviting anyone else on my anniversary trip, and second, she asked to tag along, therefore she should pay for herself. This does not sit well with her at all, and CB starts saying she's never been to Asia and turns to my girlfriend saying,
We are family, why won't you help family?
No one says anything. I'm rather confused at the whole situation and my girlfriend's face is getting red with embarrassment. CB takes this silence and says,
If we are going to do this though, make sure we're staying in nice hotels and I want at least $700 to spend.
As if her asking us to pay for her trip was not enough. I look at her with the most perplexed face and tell her that no one is going to be paying for her trip, especially when she's demanding so much spending money on top of the fact that we don't want her to come. I tell her that this trip would already cost us thousands of dollars for me and my girlfriend alone, so there was no way in hell I would be willing to pay everything for her and fork $700 over for her to spend at her will. She loses her shit.
We just agreed that you would pay for me.
No, we didn't.
You guys are so selfish.
I politely and quietly asked her to leave and that this discussion was over and reminded her that the only money she was getting from me was the $100 I gave her earlier, so much for being selfish.
You're kicking me out now? You're an effing a-hole. Girlfriend, I cannot believe you got with this self-centered prick.
My girlfriend finally breaks her silence and demands that she leave at that very moment and curses her for speaking about me that way. After a bit more fuss, CB leaves and me and my girlfriend have a bit of a laugh about it. We have not heard a word from her since. I know it's not the most exciting post, but it was my first real encounter with a choosing beggar and I decided to share it. And guys, what would you do in this situation if this incredibly entitled person demanded that you pay for a holiday and then also give her spending money? Let us know in the comments. And with that, we have reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's content, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our amazing community. Furthermore, don't forget to go to r/ripe stories on Reddit to post your own stories if you want me to read them out in a video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I see you again tomorrow.